Are you ready?
Deadman walking.
For life.
Hey everybody, welcome to Deadman Collectibles. My name's James, and today I'm sort of going to go through a live picking of my first draft of my Supercoach for 2025. I suppose just a little bit about myself. I've just started a collectibles business, Deadman Collectibles. One of the things I'm going to sort of be focusing on is NRL cards, and I have loved Supercoach over the last sort of 4 or 5 years. I did play a lot earlier than that, but to be honest, I wasn't doing it properly. And once I sort of learned about how to actually play a bit better, I've sort of gone a bit better. I'm not going to say I've gone brilliantly, but I've gone a bit better. So I thought I might as well give it a crack. Look, I really enjoy listening to Aman, with Supercoach Whisperer when he was doing it. Old mate Sangster from the Daily Telegraph there, and the guys from the Supercoach Experience as well. So thought I may as well give it a crack and see how we go, and so hopefully I don't embarrass myself too much over the space of the year. I suppose I thought I'd start off with just a little bit of the history here. But actually before that, regarding the collectibles business. So I am focusing on trading cards. We've got sort of, if you can go to the website or, anything that you can see down there, I am sort of have a range of different sports cards, and we'll be doing breaks soon. So that's opening up boxes and splitting it between people. So it's that, and once NRL comes out this in 2025, I'll definitely be doing that. It's something that because I am passionate about it. I do really enjoy watching rugby league, and I love Souths. The Rabbitohs are part of my blood. Like, I've got a Rabbitohs tattoo. I'm one of those people. Yeah. So I thought these things sort of link together. And I just wanted to also mention that. So yeah, if you are into trading cards, have a look on my website. Or my eBay store if you would prefer. Follow us on Instagram, and I'm sort of uploading and sort of writing some little blog sort of things about some of the cards. YouTube's going sort of just going through some things now, doing our breaks on there, and I'm hoping to be doing whatnot in the future, but we'll see how we go. And obviously we've got the Facebook page and the Facebook group, but that's more for the breaking side of things. But the pages, you can follow the page as well, obviously. All right, so I'll start off with the history because I thought I'd just get my dirty laundry out there. Last year was not good for me. I started off pretty poorly, as you can see. I just had some injuries and just things didn't go my way. I took a couple of risks early. It just didn't work out for me. So I dropped right down to 100,000. From down to the 100,000 mark. And then the rest of the year was just trying to crawl my way back. I had some good weeks where I'd score in the top 2,000 sort of thing. And I think, yeah, see, I know, again, I scraped my way back into the top 10,000. And then I have an awful week again. And I started floating around the sort of the $10,000 mark, and then I ran out of trades. So that's probably my Achilles heel each year, to be honest. Well, actually, there's two things: picking too many South players and using all my trades too early. Every year I say I'm not going to do it, but I do it, and I'm sure a lot of people are in that boat. So fingers crossed we won't do that this year. So obviously last year my rank ended up being 14,000, which considering I started off so poorly, I am not too displeased with that. But my aim was, at this point, to just get into the top 10, and I did. But obviously I couldn't sustain it. So the year before, I'm not going to do too many years, don't worry. The year before was a bit better for me. Again, I started off decently well. Not as badly, but I always do seem to start off poorly. But then I started floating around the top couple of thousand, and sort of stayed around there, and then again dropped off at the end of the year. So you can see sort of I was around 19, I was in the top 2,000, and it sort of just dropped off again. I think 2022 or, or yeah, 2022 was my best year. So again, had a couple. I didn't start as poorly. I started actually pretty well, and I ended up scoring 22nd highest score pretty early. So that sort of got me into, and then again, sort of 700 score. So I got that's probably my highest ranking. Oh, actually no, 104. At a point, 81. There we go. Not too bad. That's right. So, and then that's right. At the end, I just missed out on the two, being in the top 200. But look, I'll take that. So, this is my shining moment. So I just wanted to get that out there. So, look, let's get into the actual. I'm sure why one or two of you actually might be watching it for. Is not just me talking about my trials and tribulations. It's talking about my team. So I've had a little bit of a play around with it whilst I was listening to Aman, but I am just going to start from scratch again. And I didn't really have a good play around with it. I sort of I think I got us down to like the new flex spot, and then I sort of just said, okay, I can't just sort of do it easy. I have to have like a decent think. So look, I don't know if this is there's two ways that I normally sort of do this when I'm trying to work out what I'm going to pick. Actually, and I suppose I might as well just talk about the flex a little bit. So obviously they've added the flex, they've changed the prices as well, to sort of reflect that there's another player in there. Some people have said it's a bit easier. I do think it probably is a little easier, but it's a few years ago we weren't dealing with these concussions. We weren't dealing with the style of play that's happening at the moment. There's just a range of things that have changed Supercoach significantly. So I'm generally not actually in fantasy sports, and I do play a fair bit of fantasy sports. So, and I have over the time. I actually don't really like changing rules generally. But I do think because the NRL is so dynamic in that it changes constantly, like even week to week, sometimes it changes rules. So, or at least the interpretation of the rules. So, um, I do think they do need to sort of keep on top of it, and sort of make it, user friendly. And I think this is going to help. So, I'm actually like okay with this. Like it's not a problem for me, but I do get it that it would probably be considered a little bit easier, but for some people. So there's probably two ways you can go about this. Normally I just go the hooker to start off with, and just literally go through, right? But this year I think there's two options we can go for here. I think in this spot you can either put a a cheapie in here, because essentially I think 99% of people, and I would say you should be doing this probably, is having three fullbacks, right? Because fullbacks have been by far the highest scoring of any team, sorry, of any position, over the last few years. Obviously, your halfbacks can do that, but realistically, I think there's only sort of two or three options that you're wanting to end with here anyway. So whereas with fullbacks, you've actually got a deep, well, the last few years anyway, we have seen that there's actually a few that you could be picking there, and I think even potentially you could sort of try and play the matchups here, but again, that's very trade heavy. So but look, so I think really your options are you're going to have three guns, or you're going to have two guns and a cheapie to try to build up cash to start off with. Obviously, building up cash has been seen to be the most important thing to start off with, probably for the first, say, like 5 to 10 rounds. Then you start sort of preparing for your buy rounds, and then sort of trying to get in sort of keepers along the way until you get to your after origin period, and then you're sort of hoping that you have most of your team already keepers in there, and then you have your keepers the rest of the way through, and hope and just pray that you don't have injuries. I think that's generally what people do, and I think that that's what's going to happen again this year. So I suppose probably the smart thing would be to probably have a cheapie. And obviously, this is going to be all very much team dependent. Team list dependent. So on the first Tuesday of the, like, obviously through the preseason, we'll get more information. Then on the first Tuesday of the, well, I think it's going to be the Tuesday. It just depends with the Las Vegas stuff because they just like to make things easy for everyone. So well, yeah, look, it just depends on what the first week, the first team lists are going to be. This all might change, but just for now, I think I'm going to try and to start off with go for 3-gun fullbacks to try to create a bit of point of difference between myself and other people. Historically, as you've seen, I haven't actually performed all that well at the start, and it's cost me. The one year I actually did well, I performed well at the start. So I'm thinking if I can sort of go out and sort of get some decent scores to start off with, we can go from there. And look, in terms of fullback, I think realistically you've got Teddy as an option, especially now he's not going to be he's not going to be playing Origin. I think he's an option there. He's obviously a year older, so I don't know if he is the best option, and I hate the Roosters, so it kills me. Obviously they're going to be completely changed. They've like lost 3 or 4 big bodies in the middle there, and they've also lost their spiritual leader in Jared. And then you've also lost Joey Manu and Swali. So it's and I think Brandon Smith's out for quite some time too. So they're going to be a very different team, and he costs a lot. I'm going to stay away from him from the start. Might be a mistake, but I think that saving I have there, it will help me with having the 3 guns. Look, Tom is my guy for Supercoach. I actually don't like Manly at all. Again, as a South fan, there's just bad blood between a lot of these teams. Maybe that's more a South issue than anything, but whatever. Tom's just a soup for me. I just love watching him play, and I don't want to watch him play without him being in my Supercoach team. It's as simple as that. I get that he's very likely to get injured, but I'm willing to put up with it because he's the reason I scored. I ranked 22, and he's the reason I almost scored in the top 200. So he has to be. Now, what I would normally be trying to do here is probably put only the if you've got a flex, like as in a dual, you would put that in the flex position. I don't think the way I'm going to go is I'm going to have duals in there, just so I don't. But yeah, if you are picking a fullback with, a flex, and it's better off if you have a dual in there because you can be a bit more flexible with it. And obviously over the years, there's going to be more strategies that come with that flex. Like it's a decent change. So I'm sure there's going to be some trial and error, and probably by next year we'll work out what actually the best thing to do is. Originally I wasn't going to pick Latrell, because South Straw's hard to start off. Well, I thought it was hard to start off with. I looked at it again. The first 2 games aren't too bad, and then there are about 3 or 4 that are tough. South do have, I would say, the worst draw, which they somehow continually get the worst draw every single year. But I do think they have the worst draw. They do start off okay, though. They're starting off against the Dolphins, and then I think it's like the Cowboys, the Eagles, something like that. So there are a couple of winnable games at the start. The issue is we're not going to be playing at home for, I don't know, I think it's at least 5 weeks plus. It's something to do with what's happening in Homebush. I think it might be like a car thing, maybe a Formula One or a V8s or something. But anyway, we're not going to be playing at home for weeks. So that does put me off a little bit, but if he's fit, he has to be in there. He has to be, especially with his goal kicking, especially with Wayne back. Yeah, like I don't, and again, I'll kick myself if he's in there, and he's scoring that well. So I need to have him in there. All right, so having him in there. Now, this is sort of the tough thing, and this is going to be the team dependent part, and it's for me, it's about who's kicking. Um, Look, Pong is amazing. I do think he is probably in the same tier as these guys. The problem with him is I think he's obviously extremely injury prone, and we don't know if he's kicking. I think he should be, but we don't know that. And also Newcastle haven't had the best team for a while anyway, and I think they've just lost a fair few guys too. And it seems like they're sort of bringing some young guns through. So look, hope maybe they do go okay, but I don't know about that. 20k cheaper, we've got Scott Drinkwater, but again, the Cowboys they've lost a few people like Val Holmes and stuff. So he's likely going to be kicking though, which again is a plus on top of this. But then, their team's not as good. Obviously, it's North Queensland as well, though, so they should have a bit of a dry track a lot of the time. And then you've got Reece Walsh here. Uh, his prices have been way higher than that. But again, I don't know how he's going to go with Maguire. Yeah. So I would imagine I'm going to pick one of these three. At the moment, I'm probably going to lean towards probably Ponga. But again, I might have to save some cash too. In terms of a cheapie, if you are going to go for a cheapie, I think like one option, well, it's not cheapie, but I think another good option would be Pappenhausen. He's a lot cheaper. I don't think he's going to be kicking, but it's still a good almost 200k cheaper for Pappenhausen there, so that's an option. Buller, I think that the Tigers going to be decent. I know people are going to laugh at me about that, but I just think they look like on paper they look pretty good. We'll see, but that's an option there as well. And I think what most people are going to be picking is this fella, Yongi or Longy from Penrith. Look, it all depends if he starts. If he starts, well, might be a good option. But obviously Gutho's gone. I think there's Blaze Talangi there that might play fullback. There's Lomax as well. So if he's starting, then he probably is a good option. But until I see him starting, I'm not going to worry about it. And look, let's just go through the rest of the team and see how much cash we have left. So centre wing. I'm not gonna look the Dragons. I think they're going to be a lot better. I really don't like watching them. I do like Val Holmes, but in a new team, they don't score very well. The halves look like it's going to be Flanagan and Ilias. I like Ilias. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's at all a good attacking player. I think he's probably close to one of the best 5/8 or halves defensively in the game. I just don't think he's got the real attack in him. And even when he has done well, I don't think he's scored well in terms of Supercoach. And I don't see where Valentine Holmes is going to be getting his points from. Again, I might be very wrong, but again, he's also a year older, So for the price, I just don't think so. Lomax, to be honest, I just don't like him. I'm sure he's a good bloke, but I just don't like him. And again, at Parramatta, I don't know what his role is. If he's playing fullback, he probably might be a must. But yeah, and he's expensive, and I don't know, is he going to be kicking? Is Moses going to be kicking? There's too many questions there, and so I don't think so. Farnsworth is good, but again, I think that without Wayne, are they going to fall off? They might be better, who knows, but I think they're going to fall off. Karaz would be good, but I think he's been really good, but there's just random games I just see that he doesn't score that well, especially last year. Dom Young would be an option. Brian Toto seems a bit cheap. Garrick, that's something I would probably look at. I do love Garrick, and I will get him in eventually, but look, I think with the centers, I think you should be trying to get some deals here. I did say a few options when I was listening to Aman and a couple of the other guys. Um, Depending, like he could go all right. But again, Titans are hard. So one of the ones I did think was a good shout was Campbell Graham at 505k. Like I think that's decent. It just depends on obviously if he's going to be starting when he comes back. I don't know. I'm a bit worried about him, to be honest. Like if you're out for a full season, it's going to affect you. Like, but anyway, I'm putting him in. Sorry, because I do think there is some value there. Jack Whiten, I do think potentially there could be value there. I think with Wayne, he might actually sort of focus on it, and I think he might end up getting a fair few try assists. This is obviously quite skewed because he was playing 5'8" for a good chunk of the season as well. So I'm going to stay away, but I do think it's a good option potentially. I wouldn't go. I'm not going to be getting Whiten and Graham. I think that's not the best idea. And I've already got Mitchell. Like again, so I'm falling into the trap of too many South players. So I'm just drawing the line there. We've got Marky Mark. I'm definitely putting him in there. Look, I've played rugby most of my life. I've never actually played a game of league. I've only ever played rugby, but I am a South tragic. I do have a South tattoo, so unfortunately, I am one of those guys. But in terms of rugby, he was one of the only shining lights for the Wallabies. And actually, we went to the same school. Unfortunately, probably a decade apart. And I'm on the worst side of that decade. But so I sort of was aware of him for quite some time. Um, he I think he has the potential to be really good. He's going to get a spot in that back line of the Roosters. I just don't know where. Um, I'm hoping he's on the wing, and I think he will be, and I think he has the potential to really shine there. I'm not happy that it's for the Roosters, but you know, I can't have everything. So he's going to get a spot for now, and obviously it just depends on if he plays. I think Dewey's a good option. Also, Dewey also went to the same school that I did, a little bit closer. But I think again, I want to see the team. Um, and I don't know how attacking wise how good they're going to be. Um, so again, I'm already breaking it again. But Tyrone Munro, um, I think for that price, I think he's worth a shout. Um, you know, if he's on that left wing, then he's going to get some tries. I'm really hoping AJ does come back okay and he can get that record, but I'm sort of thinking he mightn't. I really want, like, he's probably my favourite player. I really do want it. He just seems like such a nice bloke. And he doesn't seem like your average sort of footy player, but he obviously just puts the hard yards in and everyone seems to love him. So, I really want him to get there, but we'll see. Jack Bird is the other one I think's a good shout. But look, it depends where he's playing. I'm hoping he's sort of playing in the second row. If he is, he can get and more so in the a little bit closer to the middle. I think if he can get those middle points, I think that might be good. Yeah. So look, Tass is an option too, but again, got too many South players. But I think I'll wait and see who's on that wing. If it's Munro or Tass, I think it's going to be Munro, so that's why I'm going there. Billy Smith, he's extremely injury prone, but again, it looks like there's a spot for him in that back line. So, and he scored pretty well when he's played, and he's 315k. So, again, I think that's a good option. And then you're just going to start having cheapies that you're going to have to pick from. I am thinking at the moment. Look, I think there's going to be someone at the Cowboys, at least one or two. So I'm just going to pick a Cowboys player. I think I've heard that he's got a good shout. But they, and then again, it's sort of going to be very team dependent. That might be Penasini's brother, which if it is, maybe he gets a run. Yeah, and look, and I'm just gonna end up picking a cheapie here. Maybe let's go Cody Ramsey. Yeah, let's go Cody Ramsey. I'm pretty sure he's had a bit of a rough trot, so let's just hope he comes back. But like I said, these two, it's just going to be on Teams List Tuesday. I'm going to work out who the cheapies are there and go for it. 5'8". This is where I'm thinking I don't know if I'm going to spend the money. I might do. Hunt's there. Yeah, Munster is cheap. But he really disappointed me last year. He just really, I don't know, maybe he was injured. I don't know what was going on there, but like it didn't go too well there. Galvin did impress me, and I think he's going to be good this year, but I'm just going to hold off. Blaze Talangi, I think, is probably the one to go for, but maybe we need to see that first. Luai might be an option too if he's playing halfback. But I really I'm sure he's a good bloke in real life, but I just, if I say I don't like someone, it's like the characters of the game, like the soap opera sort of thing. He's rubs it in when he scores against South and stuff, and I just don't love it. But he's probably is a good option. But yeah, 5'8" is really sort of the problem area, I think. So I'm gonna just leave that for the moment. Um, I think it's yeah, I'm just gonna leave it for the moment, and we'll come back to it. Halfback. Um, I think there's gonna be some cheapies around. We did South just signed, so there's Jamie Humphries for Souths. But we also did sign Sullivan, I believe, from somewhere. I think it might be. Yeah, I think it might be Sean O'Sullivan. Or actually, no. I think we signed him from the Tigers. Jaden Sullivan. I'm pretty sure we signed him. So I don't know how that's going to affect Humphries if he's sort of coming in as he is sort of if he's supposed to be like if they're competing. But I suppose I'm hoping it's Humphries to start off with because that's a bit high of a price. Um, and sort of obviously like once you're getting up to this sort of range, you might as well just pay the extra 50 and sort of get one of these guns. I think a lot of people are picking Cody. Um, Cody has not impressed me the last few years. So it's yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go with Cody at 5'8". But obviously you can pick him at halfback at the moment too. Look, I think Hines is very cheap. Um, for and I'm not going to doubt him. Actually, I think that's one we're going to have to. Actually, I forgot a bit completely about him. Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown's a must-have here, and it's this one that's the question. So where the reserve spot, I'm thinking I'm going to try and put Cleary in here. Right. And look, I'm thinking I'm not going to have the money, by the look of this, but I just want to play around with it, and I still got 4.6 million, which is not a lot, but we'll see. And I think that's where sort of I'm going to have to just make some adjustments to see if this will work. So look, second row, I don't think anyone should be spending money here by the look of it. There's a lot of mid-range guys who didn't work out last year, and I think everyone just needed to sort of probably get as the cheaper guys as possible, and then end up just going with the ones that ended up sort of like standing up. Um, I'm thinking that the only one that I'm thinking of spending a little bit of money on is Mr. Where is he? Where is he? Bloody find him. Mr. Faisal Malawi. You know, I think he could be worth 800-900k pretty quickly. So I might end up putting him in the front row, but I think he's definitely a big option. That's strange to me. And that's interesting to me as well. But again, I think he's just slightly too expensive. So Takiaho might be an option there. Tupanua as well might be an option. I think I'm going to chuck him in. Palace. Look, Murray's out for a while. I think he's an option. I think he's going to be starting and playing 13 for a while, but we'll see. Look, I thought maybe if Bateman was coming, maybe that was the plan. But I think Duncan might go there. So again, we're still. I think I've still got too many Bravados because I'm going to have another one. Probably 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not too bad. But Finifawaki, I think he's an option too. Horsburgh, I think it's an option. He fluctuates. Like I think it depends on where he's playing. So this is someone that I pick every year. I think just with that hooker duel, I think it's worth it. And when he was playing at South with Wayne, he was sharing a little bit of the role with Cook. So Cook could have a spell. He'd go into dummy half, and then he'd also play in the middle as well. So you're getting decent minutes out of him, potential attacking stats, and yeah, like for a pretty cheap price. So he might end up going in the reserve hooker spot, but we'll see. It's Nat Butcher, I think, might be an option as well, but it depends on the price. But look, we've filled this up. Let's just go to front row now. We have. Oh, normally I would just go with Payne Haas to start off with, but again, I'm obviously trying to save a bit of cash now. So I'm thinking because we've only got 2 and a bit K, 2 mil, and we've got one expensive spot and a few expensive spots to go. So, and obviously, look, I could move Tino up as well, but I don't really want to do that at this point. So look, I think May is a good option. I wish so much that South had got May. I just think he's like a real solid player. I'm having some technical difficulties here. I might just refresh this. Hmm. All right, I think I might have worked out what the issue was. See. Yep, there we go. All right, yeah. So I do think May's an option. I have no idea why the Roosters let him go. And I really wish we'd have signed him. I think it's exactly what Souths are missing is just someone with a bit of anger, and someone who's sort of willing to sort of crack some skulls. So yeah, but anyway, he's gone to the Tigers, so good on him. But yeah, I think he's an option, and we've got Reese Hunt. I think he's only a couple of 100K. And again, I've got a lot of Tigers, which I'm not loving, but I think that's a good option. But I'd probably prefer to have him on the bench. Then again, I think we sort of need to work out and say sort of the team sheets, but maybe actually Horsburgh. I think I'll probably pick in the front row as well. Get some Horsburgh. Maverick Guy was someone I was looking like. I don't know exactly what's going on with Penrith, but he might be an option. Oh, Josh Schuster. Again, it depends what his role is, but he's basically bottom dollar. Like, I think he's a must. I'm not super happy about that, but because I think there was the injury issue, but there was an attitude issue. I think. Look, I think Wayne might be able to help with that. But yeah, I wasn't thrilled with that signing, but it does seem like a Wayne signing. So, he knows better than me. So, give him the benefit of the doubt there. Yeah, Horsburgh, I think, is a good option there. And then yeah, again, it's going to depend on team sheets. Team lists. But I am just going to sort of go with someone who's at the lower end that has played a little bit in the moment. Maybe Eisenhuth. I think he might have a bit because I know obviously uh Fisher Harris is gone. So if I had a bit more money, I probably would want to get Isaiah Papali'i in there. I just don't have it, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to cut costs somewhere. So what else do we? So we've got only 700K, and I've still got 3 spots to pick. So with the hooker, I'm thinking that I'm going to go Brandon Smith and also Peter Amazoulos. I think just Hook is a wasteland, to be honest. I like it. Basically, I think you want to you obviously want to get to Grant, but Grant didn't have the best year last year, and I don't think he warranted his price. Then you had Hook and Little, who were probably the next best options, but they're now sharing a role. Or one of them's going to take over, so it's just taking out the other one. I do think Cook might actually go well at the Dragons, but we'll see. Plath is probably the option, but he does have one of the other fellas coming back. So Gilbert, I think it is. So maybe he's not. And then you've got Jeremy Marshall King is actually probably a good option too. Look, Wade Egan's probably the one I might try and go for. Very injury prone, but again, I've got to save somewhere, and I think in terms of 5'8", so again, I only got 227k, so it would basically mean I'd have to get a cheapie in there. So, and I suppose I don't think there really is too many proper cheapies at the moment that are actually have a chance. So I'm thinking, yeah, Will Price might be an option. Someone's going to be there at Newcastle. Dewey, if he plays centre, might be an option. Yeah, Cody Walker is probably, again, it is, well, Blaze Talangi, they're probably one of the two. But having a look at this, what I'm thinking is maybe I can't do the 3 guns. So maybe if I get rid of Ponga, put in Longy, that's going to free up a fair bit of cash. Good chunk of cash. That's why that's happening. Because Flex, obviously anyone's available, so it's the entire player pool that's available for that. So chuck him in there. Now I've got one position to fill, and I've got 785k. Look, I think I would probably go. I've just got too many South play. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with one of these, Blaze, Tiny, or Luai. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with Luai, even though that irks me. So then I've got 200k left. I think. Look, and I think that's a pretty strong team. I think, obviously these guys, Darby and Ramsey, like, I'm hoping I've got some cheapies there. I've got some value. But yeah, so the final team would be Sandon Smith and Peter Mamazoulos in the hooker. Tyrone May, is it? Or, no, Tyrell May. Or May anyway. Royce Hunt, Horsburgh, Eisenhuth in the front row. Tino Tupanua and Talis Duncan, Finafuaki and Schuster and Havili in the second row. Nathan Cleary and Hines, Dylan Brown and Jerome Luai. Campbell Graham and Marky Mark. I'm not even going to Nawakan Tawaze. And look, and I've known about him for a long time. I still can't. So Marky Mark is his name. Ty Munro, Jack Bird, Billy Smith, probably Darby and Ramsey, Tom Travojevic, Latrell Mitchell, and Longy. So I'm going to save that. That's my team to start off with. I'm sure I'm going to tinker with it a bit. As I hear stuff, I'm going to change it. But yeah, so yeah, and look, let me know in the comments. Is there anyone that you think I need to change? Am I being stupid? What would you do differently? And like I said, check out my website. Check out some of the stuff I've got there. And yeah, look, thanks so much for if you've stayed this long and listened to me ramble. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again. Yeah, good luck with your Supercoach. Thanks. Bye.
Dead man walking.
For life.